SEC West should probably be one of the hardest divisions in all of college football this year. Starting off at Alabama, number 2 in the country. Can AJ McCarron, can he provide that intangibles that Greg McElroy had past couple years at Alabama? I say this because AJ McCarron has all the physical tools that you want from a quarterback, but now it's all, does he have that leadership ability, that moxie, and that decision making, that gamesmanship that you would want from somebody like Greg McElroy, who didn't have those skill set that McCarron has. I think it should be easy off for McCarron at first because he has Trent Richardson at the running back position. I think the best running back in all of college football, and will probably be a favorite to win the Heisman. Is a favorite to win the Heisman. But the question is, where's the depth going to come from? Can he carry the load, all of it? He didn't really carry the load when he was there. He had Mark Ingram in front of him, and they were splitting carries. They lost D. Hart this year to a torn knee ligament, 5-star out of the state of Florida. They thought he was going to come in, so let's see if he can stay healthy long enough. They also need to find a replacement for Julio Jones. Julio took the field for them. Great blocker, guy who made big-time plays when you needed a first down. Julio Jones was there. Went to Atlanta in the first round, so they need somebody to replace him. Look out for DeAndre White to do that. He's not as big as Julio Jones. He's actually really small. He's about 5'10", 180 pounds, 190 pounds, but he's a speed demon. He's one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player on the team. Runs a 10.3 and 100, so he's one of those guys that can help stretch the field. Very strong offensive line. They have depth there. They've recruited well there. They've always had great linemen. They got DJ Faulkner there. You got Womack there. You got Barrett Jones there. So they're really good at the offensive line position. Moving on to this defense. This is the best defense in the country. This is one of the best defenses I've seen in a while. And I think this defense is actually probably not as bad, but I think the potential is to be better or greater than that 2009 National Championship defense. You lose Marcel Darius to the NFL draft, number 3 overall pick. So you got to know, you don't know what you have there. You lost his ability to play in that 5 technique, that defensive end, that 34 look to help out. Can Josh Chapman anchor that 34, be that nose tackle and anchor and just create double teams and leave space and create space for the linebackers? They have tremendous depth at the linebacker position. Donta, HighTower, Nico Johnson, Jarrell Harris, Courtney Upshaw. Jarrell Harris, Courtney Upshaw should definitely be helping with pass rushing. Also for pass rushers, watch out for Xavier Dixon and Adrian Hubbard. Those 2 guys should be flying out on the outside and should really help create a pass rush for this Alabama defense. As well as they're very strong in the defensive backfield. I think this is one of the best defensive back secondaries in all of college football. When you think of Drake Kirkpatrick, who can be a first rounder coming out this year, you have D. Milner, who's one of the top cornerbacks last year coming out of high school. You got Daquan Menzie, who's a leader on this team. Senior guy who played in the nickelback situations. Moving on to safety, you got Mark Barron, who's been there for forever, and you have Robert Lester. Also, watch out for Haseen Clinton-Dix. He should help out in nickel dime packages as well. So I think this defense is really, really strong, and this will probably be one of the best statistical defenses you've probably ever seen in college football. They have the potential to be that. Moving on to LSU, they have a lot of off the field issues to deal with. You have Jordan Jefferson, Russell Shepard situation being suspended by the NCAA. Jordan Jefferson being suspended. So now Jared Lee takes over at the quarterback position for right now. I kind of like Jared Lee. He actually reminds me of Greg McElroy because of the fact that he's trusted, and he's a guy who can manage a game, and he can get you those key third downs. And even though he struggled his freshman year, he doesn't bring that second element of that run game with his legs like Jordan Jefferson is. I think he's smarter. He makes better decisions. He's more accurate than Jefferson. Moving on to the running back position, they have extremely good depth at running back with Spencer Ware, Alfred Blue, Michael Ford, and also keep an eye out for Kenny Hilliard, another 5-star running back. Kenny Hilliard is the all-time leading rusher in the state of Louisiana. He should help out a lot for them towards the end of the year, middle end of the year. He's a guy that can really come out and speak up and just help out for them. Moving on, they have questions at the wide receiver position. They lost a lot last year. Like I said, they lost Russell Shepard to the NCAA, suspending him indefinitely. But they do have Ruben Randall, who I believe is the best wide receiver in the conference. Playmaker guy. He reminds me of a lot of Julio Jones and AJ Green put together. He has great speed, very good route runner, very great hands, can jump up, catch the ball. Big guy, 6'4". He should really help out a lot. They're hoping Kadron Boone can help out. He's a guy that they brought in a couple years ago. He can help out. Also, Odell Beckham should help out, freshman, along with Jarvis Jones. Also, D'Angelo Peterson at tight end and Chase Clement should really help as well for Jared Lee as a safety blanket type. Very strong on the offensive line. LSU's always been a team that's just always known for their offensive line. Always had a good, solid offensive line. Even last year, even though they took a couple steps back, they bring some of those guys back. The Chris Falk should really help. Elrin Collins, the 5-star, the kid that they got who's playing who's going to move over and play guard this year. It should really help out a lot. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, despite losing 2 guys to the NFL, especially losing Drake Nevis, who was a beast at the defensive tackle position, I think they have guys that could step up and really help. Watch out for Anthony Johnson, a 5-star guy. They call him the Freak. Very athletic for a big guy. Should really help out a lot. Also, watch out for Ferguson, who should also help out as well. At the defensive end, they got speed on defensive end with Sam Montgomery, Kiki Mingo. He should help out a lot too. So this defensive line should be really good. At the linebacker position, they're very fast at linebacker. They had to move a couple guys from the linebacker position, from safety to linebacker, like Carnell Hatcher, who will be playing middle linebacker this year, to help replace. Who's going to help replace Shepard? Kevin Minton is the starter right now. Also, they bring back 2 starters, and Ryan Baker and Stephen Francois. So let's see I want to see what they have there. They're very fast. They always got good linebackers, so I'm not worried about their linebackers at all. Very strong secondary led by Mo Claiborne and Brandon Tyler at safety. Mo Claiborne as a corner. They have depth at the cornerback position. Also, watch out for Craig Loston. Craig Loston should help out a lot as well. I really like this LSU team a lot. I think they can probably be a national title contender despite losing Jefferson and Russell Shepard for the future so far. Moving on to Arkansas, Taylor Wilson, who's probably last year the best backup in all of college football last year. Now he's a full-time starter, replacing Ryan Mallett. More accurate than Ryan Mallett, but doesn't have the strong arm as he does. This is one of my teams who could be a dark horse team to win this conference and possibly compete for a national title. But they did suffer a hard blow, losing Niles Davis, their best running back. But they back him up with, I think they have good solid depth behind there, even though they're a passing team, with Ronnie Wingo Jr., who's a former 5-star guy and converted corner, and D. Anthony Curtis, who should help out. Wingo should be more of an inside. He's more a balanced guy. He can run inside, but he can bounce it out as well. And Curtis is that change of pace guy with that speed, that shiftiness, that quickness. They have the best wide receiver core in all the country, with Jarius Wright, Greg Childs, Joe Adams, and Colby Hamilton. You can't go wrong with those 4 guys, so it should be easy for Tyler Wilson to complete. They had DJ Williams last year. I want to see if they can find a tight end who can actually help out at being a safety blanket for Wilson as well. They have questions at the offensive line, but they're more at the tackle position, which is going to be really key. But they're very solid up front at the 2 guard spots in the center position. So their interior offensive line is good. It's just those tackles you got to worry about this year, since they lost 2 guys with their leader in DeMarcus, and especially with their leaders with DeMarcus Love last year. Very deep on the defensive line. They can sub in and out a lot of guys, so none of these guys could get tired. Led by Jake Beckett. I think Jake Beckett is going to be one of those guys that you don't hear from, but he's going to be guys that you hear from right now, but later on down the road against games like Alabama, he'll step up and he'll be like, oh, I remember that guy. And I like Jake Beckett a lot. They have questions at linebacker, but they're led by Jerry Franklin, one of the best linebackers in the SEC. He should help out there. Very rangy guy, fast guy, good tackler. Underrated secondary led by Tremaine Thomas at the safety position, and Darius Winston at corner. I think this is the year Darius Winston has all the academic stuff aside, the injuries aside. If he can stay healthy, I think he can live to his 5-star billing. and become a really, really solid corner for this team. Moving on to Auburn, national champions from last year. Who's gonna replace a couple of guys that they left? Who's gonna replace Cam Newton? Is it Barrett Trotter? Is he the answer? Is he even the answer at quarterback? We'll find out sooner or later if he's the answer at quarterback. But I think Kyle Frazier's the guy who could run that system well. I don't think they're gonna have a real solid year, so you might as well take your bumps with the freshmen. They're very strong at the running back position with Ontario McCaleb and Michael Dyer. They should really help out. They should help out Trotter a lot, especially in the run game. They have questions at wide receiver, tight end Philip Kurtzen to really help out tight end, and Emery Blake, who's had experience on this team and played in the national championship, should really help. But watch out for true freshman Quan Bray and also redshirt freshman Tavon Reed, a very fast guy who should help out in the slot. Tavon Reed and Quan Bray will also help out in the return game. They have questions on the offensive line, which is really going to help out. They got a guy like Christian Westerman. They're going to have young guys playing this year, I think, on the offensive line. So we got to see how that helps out. But I think this team later on down the road will get better, and they're a year away from actually being good and contending again in this division. Moving on to the defense, you lost 3 starters on your defensive line. You lost all 3 of your defensive tackles, led by Nick Fairley, who was basically one of the dominant players defensively in all of college football, kind of like Ndamukong Suh, was the key in that national championship run, national championship game. He blew up Oregon, so you got to find guys who can replace him. I think Gabe Wright can do it, a true freshman who's coming in out of high school. They're very undersized at the linebacker position. They got to get better. They got to get depth there. They got speed, but they got to get depth there. I like Elton Lantro Freeman. I like him at linebacker, even though he's really small. I think he can help out a lot. They have Connect in secondary improved from last year. That secondary was really dreadful last year. One of the worst secondaries in all of college football. But they got to get more talent there. I think they got to recruit there better. But they're led by Nico Thorpe at the safety position, who could really help out and really can have a good solid year for them at the safety position. Moving on to Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a team you guys are really going to have to watch out for. They can contend with a couple of these teams as well. Dan Mullen always knows what he's doing offensively. Can Chris Welch, can he improve his passing? If he could do that, he's already a great runner. He should help out there. Moving on to the running backs. They have a 2 running back system with Victor Bell, who's more of an inside runner, who scored 19 touchdowns last year, almost had over 1,000 yards. Almost had 1,000 yards and averaged 5.2 yards per carry. Ladarius Perkins should help out as a more shiftier guy, more speed, more change of pace type of back. Watch out for Chad Bumpus. He's one of the unknown playmakers in this league that you don't know about, but you know about him this year around the country. He's a very good, solid playmaker, catching the ball, returning, running the football on jet sweeps and screens. Underrated offensive line, even though they lost Derek Sherrod, number 1 overall first-round pick, to the Packers. I like what they have at defensive tackle. They're very solid at the defensive tackle position with Josh Boyd and Fletcher Cox. They need to find a pass rusher, replace Pernell McPhee. Questions at the linebackers. They lost their 3 linebackers from last year, including their 2 leaders, Chris White and KJ Wright. But also, Clemson transfer Brandon May should really help out a lot at that middle linebacker position, and I think they have a solid secondary led by Charles Mitchell. Moving on to Ole Miss, they got can Barry Barnetti, can he keep that quarterback job? He's getting pressured by Zach Stout. Can he keep that job? They have solid linebackers in Brandon Boldman and Enrique Davis. They need to upgrade the talent at their wide receiver position. They have a strong offensive line led by Bobby Messi, who I think can be, not this year but next year, could probably be one of the best tackles in all of college football and has the potential to be a first-round NFL draft pick. They have questions at the defensive line. Cantrell Lockett should really help out, but they need to find 3 other guys to help there. Very young and